Live from Healthy Altitudes, Colorado, coming to you with a few stretches that will help you stretch out and loosen up after a run. So if you have a ski pole or if you have a strap, something that you can use, grab it, check out these stretches. I just finished up a quick run. Somebody asked me, why am I wearing a bright orange hat? Well, I'm wearing a bright orange hat so I don't get run over by people who are texting and driving. I figured I would pop on here real quick, show you a couple stretches for the quads, the hips, and the low back, talk a little bit about ergonomics as a dad and as an athlete, and then show you a few of those stretches with a pole so that it'll help you loosen up for your run on those cold days or for your life as a parent. So grab your pole. Today we're using ski poles. So grab your ski pole. What we're gonna do with this pole is use it as a reference. So I was working with a client the other day whose hamstrings are just really tight. And we got talking about why the hamstrings get tight. And as a dad, I realized early on, putting my babies into their crib was really bad on my back. You know, we end up through our day doing a lot of this, or if you're on Instagram and Facebook doing this all the time, you get tech neck. So the posterior chain muscles, meaning our neck, our shoulders, our back, our hamstrings, all those posterior chain muscles get, kind of weak, or they get, they can also even get tight by being lean, pulled forward. So what we want to do is we want to think about posture first and foremost. Then we want to think about ergonomics. If you're putting a baby into a crib or if you're lifting, always think about using those legs. One of the things you can do with a pole that's really neat to make you think about your legs is put the pole here and squat down and up. And what's fun about using a camera is that you can use it as biofeedback. You can record yourself with your phone just coming down and up and see if you have imbalances. If you come down and you're doing this, you might find an imbalance and you might say, oh, that side is uneven. We won't get into too much of why one side is uneven versus the other. But all you do is you start to think about that and try to think about even it up. The reasons you might be uneven is because your quad or hamstring might be out of balance, or your glute or your low back. So just starting with that pole, thinking about a squat coming down and up, right? Then you can start to assess what balance you have with the quad to hamstring strength, okay? When you're lifting a baby, or if you're getting down to play with your kids or your grandkids, always get in the habit and training your brain to start thinking about using your legs, right? And in exercise science, we call this a warding pattern, a pattern of movement to ward off injuries. Just maybe through your day, work on your range of motion to get down and get up. And at some point, if you're not a parent already, you might be a parent. If you're a parent now, you might be a grandparent. So getting up and down is going to be one of those activities of daily living that we're all going to do. Practice that warding pattern by using your legs to get down, to give hugs. Kids also love if you give them a hug and lift them up. Now you're getting squats. You're going to get functional fitness. And then you can even practice counting with them if they're really little. You can practice and let them count from 1 to 10 and do 10 of those. So there's your habit change. But now let's get a couple quick stretches. One of the ways you can stretch your hamstrings is to go real wide, pointing your toes out, reaching your pole or strap up, and then leaning in. And what's really important is you're going to see hinging at the hips, keeping your knees soft but not locked, and then letting your upper body stay long. And this is how you're going to feel it in your hamstrings. Okay? So you feel it in your hamstrings, and then you come up and you can open your abdominals and into your hip flexors and into your IT band and the psoas muscles. So you reach up. That pull is nice because it helps you open your shoulders. all right? So get a pole, get a strap, use whatever you can to come up high, and you're pulling out with your hands while you stretch. So it's a real nice way to do two things together to loosen your hamstrings, get the posterior chain muscles loose, relax your neck and shoulders. You can even come all the way into it and see how far you can go while still keeping your back flat. Back, stretching out your arms, all right? If you start to break at your back, you're losing that form. Now, that is something you can do to be purposeful with it. You can round your back and then bring your elbows out and forward to stretch your lats under your arms. Stretching out those lats in your back can really help you feel better. So from different angles, you can see I'm pulling my shoulder and arm forward to stretch out and round those lats, the latissimus dorsi. You'll be quizzed on these later. That's a good one. Another one is you can just stretch your shoulders while you have your pole in between. Great way to loosen it up. And then we're gonna go to hamstrings. Having a pole is really nice for this one because what you can do, A, is keep your feet aligned and hips and pelvis aligned with balance, and B, you can shift your weight to this pole. I like to put the pole on the side of the leg that I'm stretching. So I'm trying to stretch my right leg here. Pole goes on the right side. Again, flat, long back. Dropping back with a flat back first. Dropping my hips and pelvis down and back. Often I see people try to do this. Well, you won't get as much stretch out of it. Put a pole way back here. Stretch back. Weight goes on this left quad. Lean into it, get a little bit of a stretch through your low back and hamstrings, and then lean forward to get more stretch. So again, if you're a parent or if you're an athlete, your hamstrings will get really tight. Or if you're sitting a lot in a car, driving, commuting, or on Zoom meetings all day. This is a great hamstring stretch to throw in through your day to loosen up the hamstrings and the low back. If you want a little more out of it, you lean into it a little more. Then you hold it for 30 to 45 seconds, switch it up, use your pole on the other side for balance and stretch. And the pole really helps on this one, okay? Again, the pole is a good tool to have. You can pick up a ski pole, an old ski pole or something at a Goodwill, a Salvation Army. You can probably find them at some of the used stores. You can also go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy a wooden dowel. Get a nice long wooden dowel and get the same effect out of it. I like to repurpose things though. So getting an old ski pole really can help. So that's a good one. Another one to do for your hip is a quadricep stretch. Using the pole allows you to really focus on the stretch and not your balance. So you put the pole in the left hand, grab your ankle above your foot. So we're not grabbing our foot and contraindicating that ankle joint by pulling up. We're pulling from the ankle, and then your hips and pelvis stay square and forward, and pull up, getting a big stretch through that hip. This will alleviate the tension that builds up in here from sitting on Zoom meetings all day, right? So you're pulling up, loosening the hip flexors, IT band, the psoas, and then also stretching into your quads, okay? Holding it for 30 to 45 seconds and switch it to the other side. I figured I might as well stretch, so if anybody else wants to get some stretch ideas, I'll share the love. That's fun with Instagram TV, right? So pulling up, getting a stretch, and pulling that knee in and back. All right, so this is great if you're a parent and you're getting up and down, or if you're playing sports with your kids, which you should be doing, instead of just being in the gym or signing them up for sports lessons while you sit on the sidelines and watch. Sitting on the sidelines is good, but also leading by example and being active with them is even better. So keep on being active as a parent or a grandparent, and then you lead by example, and they will see that and build that into their lifestyle. Do it for them, right? And then you can live longer for them. So there's some cool things. You've got 3 simple stretches there. You've got a hamstring stretch, you've got a quadricep stretch, and then we did the other hamstring stretch where we had the pole in front of us, leaning forward with a nice long flat back, pushing your tailbone and your rear end down and back. Those glutes go backwards. Long, strong torso, knees stay at the same angle, feeling that stretch through the posterior chain muscles. So there's 3 simple stretches that'll help you loosen up your hips, your legs, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your low back, and that'll help you also be effective in using a ski pole for your life. And also, if you have a ski pole, you can do this. It's kind of fun. So thinking about ergonomics as you go through your day, remember to use your legs to lift as opposed to leaning in or just going to pick somebody up. I'm thinking about kids and stuff, or grandparents who go to pick up kids. Use good technique. Train your brain to think about the technique regularly, and then when you go into the house and see the grandkids, or you see your kids and you go to give them a big hug, it becomes natural because your body has used those patterns of movement so often. It becomes natural to come in and give a hug and use the good form and technique. Your body is prepared for it. Practice those warding patterns, those patterns of movement to ward off injuries. So again, as a parent, doing something like this, a deeper squat with just body weight is a good warding pattern, a pattern of movement to ward off injuries. You're building the strength in the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the back, the abdominals, through your knees and joints and all the tissue that helps you get up and down. You're building strength in all of that so that you can do that for your life and hopefully have good form and technique. So, quick live video today, getting a couple stretches. Hope that helps you find ways to be active, eat well, and stay happy. And if you want to stay happy, join us on Tuesday next week, February 23rd, 5 p.m. We're going to have our health and happiness discussion. We're going to talk about how much is enough. And I was thinking about this morning on my run as an analogy. If you have a bucket of water and it's overflowing, when do you say, hey, I need to do something with all that water that's spilling over the edges? Or do you just sit there and watch it spill over the edges? What do you do when things are overflowing? What do you do when you don't have enough? What do you do if you have a bucket of water and there's a hole in the bottom and you're trying to fill it from the top, trying to fill it, and the water keeps pouring out? You could dump more into it really, really quickly, or you could try to plug the hole and then keep filling it. How do you address that problem? How do you start to look at what's enough? How much do you need in that bucket? Do you need the bucket to be full? So those are some things to think about as we go into the Tuesday Health and Happiness Mastermind discussion. Free on Zoom. We'll be sharing that code with anybody interested. Just send me a private message. I'll send you the Zoom code. Great for parents, great for people who like to build health into their lifestyle or build health into your own lifestyle or the lifestyles of those around you. If you're a coach, if you're a business leader, if you're if you have a family, if you're a parent, a grandparent, if you have friends that you think might benefit from being happier and healthier, we just want to bring a little more good to the world. Steve Bouchard and Dr. Matt Moreno are going to help co-host it. We want to make it an interactive discussion about how you can add health into your lifestyle. We've been given this gift of time where we're working from home a lot more, and I want to help other folks with the gift of time I've been given. I want to help share that gift with you and help other folks find ways to be healthier. And how can we gain from a negative experience called COVID? And what can we do as we go forward to stay positive and bring more good to the world? I think that that's a real important thing to consider. So I hope that you have an amazing day, have an amazing week. I hope that you can join us on Tuesday. I hope that these stretches help you feel good and be active for your life.